All right, so today we are going deep on Dr. James' tour and flash Joule heating.
Yeah.
You might be thinking, what in the world is flash Joule heating?
Right.
Well, this is a process that uses like these quick bursts of high voltage electricity, and it heats stuff up,
Right.
and it transforms them in unbelievable ways.
It's like a bolt of lightning,
Really?
rearranging molecules, turning everyday waste into something valuable, like tires, banana peels,
Yeah.
plastic being transformed into graphene.
Okay, so let's break this down a little bit for our listener.
Sure.
So we're taking trash
Yeah.
and we're turning it into treasure with a zap of electricity.
Mm-hmm.
But how does this actually work? I mean, it sounds
Yeah, it really does sound like science fiction, doesn't it?
almost like science fiction.
The beauty of flash Joule heating, or FJH,
Oh.
as it's called, lies in its simplicity.
Okay.
It all comes down to rapidly heating materials using these electrical pulses, focusing a bunch of energy for just like a tiny moment, and it causes these remarkable changes at the molecular level.
So instead of giant furnaces and hours of processing,
Right.
we're talking about something that's super fast, targeted.
Right.
Now, you mentioned graphene, but what else can we do with this? This is like magic.
Well, the applications are super diverse.
Okay.
Besides turning waste into graphene, FJH can be used to get valuable metals
Oh, wow.
from electronic waste,
Interesting.
which is often called urban mining.
Urban mining. Okay.
So you're turning gadgets into resources.
So we're talking about a potential solution to this growing e-waste problem.
Exactly.
And I've even heard that FJH can be used to clean up contaminated soil.
That's right.
Is that true?
Absolutely. FJH can be applied to soil remediation and neutralize contaminants,
Okay.
like PFAS, those forever chemicals.
Oh, right.
So it makes the soil much healthier.
So basically, FJH is like this Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Solutions tackling waste, resource recovery, and even pollution.
That's right.
It's incredible how one single technology can be applied to so many different things.
What's really fascinating is that FJH can be applied to all these materials.
Yeah.
And each one reacts in its own unique and valuable way.
Oh, interesting.
For example, when you apply it to certain plastics,
Okay.
it doesn't just create graphene,
Yeah.
it produces hydrogen gas,
Hold on.
which is a clean energy source.
So we're talking about producing clean energy from plastic waste.
Right.
That's crazy.
It is.
And I imagine the environmental benefits go beyond just reducing the amount of waste.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Traditional methods for recycling or getting rid of these materials often involve harsh chemicals,
Yeah.
high energy consumption leading to more environmental damage.
Right.
FJH offers a cleaner and more sustainable alternative,
Okay.
using less energy and producing fewer harmful byproducts.
So a win-win.
Yes.
It's offering both economic and environmental benefits. It's really fascinating to think about how this technology has the potential to revolutionize so many industries.
Yeah, it really does.
But let's get back to those metals that you were mentioning earlier.
Okay.
Tell me more about this urban mining
Yeah.
and how FJH plays a role in it.
Sure. You know, it's amazing to think that our devices, like our phones and stuff that we use every day, are packed with valuable metals
Yeah.
just waiting to be recovered.
It's like we're surrounded by this hidden treasure.
Right.
So just how big is this e-waste problem?
Yeah.
And why should our listener even care about this?
Well, get this.
Okay.
In 2022 alone, the world generated 62 million tons of e-waste.
62 million.
That's equal to 1.55 million 40-ton trucks.
Wow.
Filled with electronics.
That's a lot.
Enough to circle the entire equator.
Wow, that's a lot of trash TVs and phones.
Right.
Computers, everything. And we're only formally collecting and recycling less than 25% of that.
That's right.
What happens to the rest?
Unfortunately, a lot of it ends up in landfills
Yeah.
or is processed informally, often in countries with less strict environmental regulations,
Right. Yeah.
which can lead to environmental and health hazards.
Makes sense.
Because e-waste contains toxic stuff,
Yeah.
like mercury and lead,
Right.
that can leach into the soil and water.
So it's alarming to think that our old devices could be polluting communities around the world.
Right.
It's not just that we're wasting resources.
Uh-huh.
We're putting people at risk and the planet.
Exactly.
So this is a ticking time bomb.
It is, and it's only going to get worse as we buy more electronics.
Right.
The Global E-Waste Monitor predicts that by 2030,
Okay.
e-waste will reach 82 million tons.
So that's a 32% increase in just a few years.
Yeah, so what can we do about it?
Yeah, what can we do about it? How can we turn this challenge into an opportunity?
Well, that's where technologies like FJH come in
Yep.
by providing a cleaner way to extract those metals.
Mm-hmm.
We can turn this problem into a resource.
So instead of mining for new materials, we can recover them from the e-waste.
That's the idea.
So it's like a circular economy for electronics.
Right.
The materials are constantly being reused and recycled,
Mm-hmm.
and we're closing the loop on this consumption.
Yes.
So you mentioned that e-waste has valuable metals.
Right.
Like which ones?
It's actually richer in some metals than the stuff that's naturally occurring.
Wow.
Like it has higher concentrations of cobalt and nickel,
Right.
which are essential for batteries,
Right.
but are becoming scarce.
Oh, wow.
Recovering these metals from e-waste could reduce our reliance on mining,
Yeah.
which is really environmentally impactful.
So our old gadgets are a source of critical materials,
Mm-hmm.
but how does FJH stack up against traditional ways of recycling?
Well, traditional methods use harsh acids and high temperatures,
Yeah.
leading to more waste
Yeah.
and high energy use.
Okay.
FJH offers a cleaner alternative.
Okay.
Research shows that FJH can recover metals from e-waste
Mm-hmm.
with a yield of over 98%.
Wow, that's really impressive.
It is.
So it's not just better for the planet, it's more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other advantages?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Huh.
FJH can drastically reduce processing times,
Okay.
something that might take 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Using traditional methods can be done in 20 minutes with FJH.
Oh, wow, 20 minutes. That's a huge improvement.
It is.
So let's talk about the man behind this, Dr. James Tour.
Yeah.
He's not just a scientist, he's an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
So he's not just publishing papers, he's actually getting these innovations out into the world.
He's passionate about making a real difference.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about the companies that he's involved in.
Okay.
What are some of the interesting things that they're working on?
Well, aside from MTM Critical Metals,
Yeah.
which we'll get to later,
Okay.
he's involved in companies like Weebit,
Mm-hmm.
which focuses on electronic memory,
Okay.
dots,
Yeah.
exploring graphene quantum dots,
Interesting.
Zeta Energy, which is developing battery technology,
Okay.
and Neurocords, which is working on spinal cord repair.
Wow.
He's involved in all kinds of things.
So it's like this whole ecosystem of companies that are dedicated to helping the world.
Yeah,
It's really fascinating to see how one person can have this much impact.
it is.
But for now, let's talk about MTM Critical Metals.
Okay.
What do they do,
Yeah.
and how are they using FJH
Yeah.
to address this e-waste challenge?
Well, MTM Critical Metals is an Australian company
Okay.
with a focus on mineral exploration
Mm-hmm.
and metal recovery tech.
Right.
They have the exclusive license to FJH,
Oh, wow.
and they're actively working on using it for recycling metals.
So they're not just pulling metals out of the ground.
Right.
They're recovering them from our electronics.
Exactly.
So what's their approach to tackling this e-waste recycling challenge?
So they started a U.S. subsidiary called Flash Metals USA Inc.,
Okay.
led by Steve Reggio, who has lots of experience in recycling. And Flash Metals is focused on using FJH to recycle metals
Got it.
from different sources, including e-waste.
So they have a mission and the people to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they working on to get FJH into the mainstream?
Well, they're scaling up their operation to handle lots of material.
Yeah.
Their goal is to process 1 ton per day
Wow, 1 ton per day.
at their pilot plant.
That's a big jump.
Yeah.
Going from the lab to a ton a day.
Right.
What types of things are they processing at the pilot plant?
All kinds of stuff,
Okay.
including batteries, printed circuit boards,
Okay.
other electronic scrap.
So they can use a lot of different kinds of e-waste.
Yeah, the flexibility of FJH lets them do that.
Okay. What are some of their goals for the future?
Well, they really want to fine-tune the FJH process
Okay.
to get the most metal out of it as possible.
Makes sense. So they're always improving.
Exactly.
We talked about the lack of standardization of battery packaging.
Right.
How are they addressing that?
That's a challenge. So they're advocating for industry standards for batteries
Right.
to make them easier to recycle.
So they're not just focusing on their own tech.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to get the whole industry on board.
They're working with industry groups and policymakers to raise awareness.
So it sounds like they're trying to design batteries from the beginning
Right.
with recycling in mind,
Yes.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
But besides that,
Mm-hmm.
what other challenges are they facing trying to scale this up?
Well, it's hard to know what batteries are going to be popular in the future.
Okay.
You know, the tech is always changing,
Yeah, that's true.
so it's hard to plan.
That makes sense.
But MTM is being really flexible.
Okay.
They're developing processes that work with a lot of different materials.
Okay, so they're prepared no matter what happens.
Right.
What else is contributing to their success in this field?
They're partnering with battery manufacturers and research institutions.
Okay.
So they know what's coming next.
So they're staying ahead of the curve. They understand that recycling has to be economical.
Right.
So are they doing anything else to ensure that?
They're looking at recovering more than just metals from batteries,
Like what?
like lithium salts and graphite.
Okay.
Those are valuable too.
Wow.
So it's like squeezing every last drop out of those old electronics.
Yeah, and that really fits in with the whole circular economy thing.
Absolutely.
Sounds like MTM is doing well
Are.
with their innovative technology and strategic partnerships.
Yeah.
But let's not forget their other focus, which is mineral exploration.
Okay.
So how does that fit into their plan?
Sure.
And how are they trying to make mining better for the environment?
Okay. Yeah, their work with mineral exploration is really interesting.
Okay.
They're mainly focused on critical minerals, things like rare earth elements and niobium.
Yeah, the elements that power everything,
Right, exactly.
but mining can be bad for the environment.
Yeah, that's true.
So how is MTM trying to do things differently?
They're really committed to doing things sustainably. Okay.
So they do environmental assessments before they even start digging.
So they're not just going in and tearing things up.
Nope.
That's great.
They also work with the community
Okay.
to make sure everyone benefits.
So they're trying to be good neighbors.
Exactly. They want to set a new standard for mining.
Okay.
One that's good for the environment and the community.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
So how does FJH fit in with all this?
Well, they're looking at using it to process the ore
Okay.
and get the minerals out more efficiently.
So instead of those big smelters,
Right.
they could just use FJH.
Yeah, it could be a game changer.
That would be amazing.
They're trying to make mining more sustainable
Okay.
and reduce its impact.
That makes sense.
It's amazing how something made for recycling
Yeah.
will change how we get resources from the earth.
It really shows how versatile FJH is.
It does.
And MTM is working with others on this too.
Yeah, they're partnering with universities and research institutions.
So they're really bringing in the experts. They're using the latest science?
It's not just digging holes anymore.
Nope. It's much more sophisticated.
It sounds like they're really committed to doing things right.
They are. They want to minimize their impact
Oh,
while still benefiting everyone.
it's inspiring to see a company like MTM taking the lead.
It is. They're showing that it's possible
Yeah.
to do things sustainably.
So we've learned a lot today
Yeah, we have.
about flash Joule heating and its potential.
It's pretty incredible technology.
It really is.
It could solve so many problems.
The key takeaway for me is that this isn't just science.
Right.
It's about making a real difference.
It's about human ingenuity and finding solutions.
Exactly.
And we're just getting started.
Yeah, who knows what's next?
It's an exciting time
It really
to
is.
see all these breakthroughs.
But let's leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay.
We've talked about how FJH can change things like recycling and mining. But what if it creates entirely new industries?
Ah,
Things we can't even imagine yet.
that's a great question.
What do you think?
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into flash Joule heating.
It was my pleasure.
It's been electrifying.
Until next time.